a few minutes before I have a coaching session, but I wanted to talk quickly about this idea of being an empath and what it really means and how you will people. You're going to meet people in your relationships and throughout your life where they don't care as much as you care, where they're able to say F that person or off with their head or put a boundary up and why do you care and why do you care? As an empath, you can't not care. As somebody who is highly empathic and understands that they have this natural tendency to feel what other people feel, it is a blessing and it is a curse because people who naturally absorb the energies of other people who have learned, I think it's a survival adaptation. If I shunt my own experience and tune into my mom's experience because I feel so unsafe, empaths grew up feeling unsafe. Life was unpredictable. Everything was unstable. We didn't know what was going to happen from this moment to the next moment. Is good mommy going to show up or bad mommy? Is good daddy going to show up or bad daddy going to show up? Are we going to have money this month to pay for the rent, or is the gas going to get shut off? Are the debt collectors coming? Are even my uncle had a big gambling addiction, so he borrowed money from loan sharks. So is he going to get beat up this weekend? Are we going to have to pick him up from the hospital? Are my parents going to fight because of my uncle who has alcoholism and a gambling problem? So the idea is that when you grow up in a toxic home, you're going to feel more than anyone else because you have been conditioned to live in a state of hypervigilance just to survive. That is going to parlay into relationship issues because you have unmet needs that you're looking to your partner in the external world to meet, and they might not be able to meet those needs. It doesn't mean that this person is a terrible person. Could be, because lots of codependent empaths attract narcissists that have like dark empathy, where they know how you feel, but they choose not to care how you feel, and they exploit how you feel. So you have a codependent who is highly empathic, and then you have a narcissist who is also highly empathic, but they come at it from a very different angle. A codependent wants to fix the narcissist wants to drain the codependent. Very dangerous mix. I feel this is why so many people in this codependent narcissistic dynamic, the caretaker in the family thought, oh, I'm going to outlive my spouse. Chances are you might not. If this person is highly narcissistic, they're draining you. You're spending your entire life taking care of them, taking just one more day. I have to go through one more day, and you're being drained. And so I just wanted to come on quick. Like I said, if you follow my work, I feel like I owe it to you to explain why you might struggle sometimes feeling capsized by your emotions, despite all your healing and recovery work. It's this link to how you're processing the world through your emotions, which is the only thing that you had as a child. And so when you are hypervigilant and you walk into a room of 100 people, you can feel the wounded puppy. And there's this natural tendency for you to like navigate over there and like bring them a napkin or tend to their needs. Why? That was your survival adaptation as a child. It's not a bad thing. We need people with high empathy. But if you have empathy, child neglect induced empathy, dear one, you really have to develop self-mastery skills. You have to understand the holes in the wall because you are going to get drained. Some of the signs that you look for is that, and I just had this conversation with my son literally 5-10 minutes ago. If you feel a big shift when you're in nature versus city life, you can feel, like I'm brain fog and I don't feel good right now. You go to the beach and it's like, I feel so much better. And you come back to city life or you come back to the office and you're surrounded by all these computers and you're bombarded with all this, EMF energy. Pay attention to that. There are other people in your office and in your family that they're not affected by that. But if you are somebody who senses when I'm in a crowd, I feel kind of antsy and I don't like hearing that. I don't want to pick up on that. ADHD is tied to this. I could be in a restaurant and I'm hearing the conversation 3 tables over. I don't freaking want to. I have antenna my husband doesn't have. He's like, why does that bother you? I said, I'm picking up on it. Like, I don't want to have this antenna, but I do, because it is a skill, a hearing skill, a visual skill, a sensing skill that I had to rely on to survive my crazy family dynamics that look perfect from the outside. So I'm super honed in to like what's happening. I think it helps me be an incredible life coach. I think it helps me absolutely create content that speaks to people that have these similar issues. But if you're not careful, if I'm not careful in my personal life, I will take on the energies, especially people who are really close to me, and I'll lose myself in this survival skill and miss out on what's really happening. So for me, a big cue is, am I starting to feel overwhelmed? Oh, that's a sign that my boat's going under. Me, my life, my mind, my thoughts, my focus, I'm going under. If I go back 6 months and I create like what I call the quantum timeline, I'm like, well, when did this shift happen? For me, right now, no contact with my brother and sister. That's never happened. I'm 60 years old. So that's a big deal for me. Then there was another issue with a very close child in our life. So that kind of pulled me under. Then there's other issues in my business that kind of like, uh-oh, here it goes. And I think that I'm doing everything right. I think I'm meditating every day. I wasn't paying attention to the overwhelm that was happening in my personal relationships. And when I really got a hold of it, I see what's happening here. So understand that empathy creates a portal between you and another person. So when that portal opens, you're dealing with their wounded inner child and the adult in them. And guess what? The mother who abandoned them, the father who abandoned them, the people, the boyfriends and girlfriends that abused them. When you're an empath, there's this natural portal. You're just going to attract people that want your light because they know, oh, that's someone who is kind. Maybe I can get some of my kindness, that my unmet need from that empath. And if you're not careful, if you're a coach, if you're a therapist, a psychotherapist, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're a first aid responder, if you're a mother, if you're a father, if you're a teacher, if you are in a toxic family and you're the codependent empath who survived by dissociating or detaching from the self and developing these senses, these visual, auditory senses, these feeling senses, like these tentacles, like that are out, they're reaching out into the environment, know that you're looking for a way to feel safe because you don't feel safe. And below the veil of consciousness, you will continue to do that, attract these people, and you're going to start to feel really unsafe in your body and in your mind, and you're going to lose yourself. I'm about to release a meditation probably within the next few days that's really going to help anybody who's struggling with this. And in the meantime, at a minimum, recognize what's going on. Notice when you shift. Do I feel better alone, or do I feel better in nature? Do I feel better when I walk through a park than I do in the office? Do I feel better when I'm watching this type of a movie versus that? How do you react to the news? Don't watch it if you're having a negative reaction and you start ruminating. Some empaths and codependents can't heal family members. They work in a great ability with a client, but with family members, you're going to really struggle because it becomes a really cloudy space. Just know that about yourself. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you aware, and it makes you intuitive, and it makes you responsible. If you want more information, stick to the channel. I'm going to be having more videos on this topic, more podcasts on this topic. And at a minimum, start working on your inner child. I have a $27 workbook that's great for someone who's struggling with this. I have, I think, another boundary building workbook. You don't have to go all into a systemized program yet. Go to my website, www.lisarahmon.com. Look for some early tools to help kickstart your healing journey. And I promise you, if you stick with it and you process this, you know what's wrong, you're going to be able to sift and shift, and you're going to live a much greater life, and you're going to be able to feel without losing yourself and feeling capsized. Namaste, everybody is about to live in light that's absolutely in you. We got this. It wasn't our fault that we were abused. It wasn't our fault that we have these senses that we don't know how to navigate, but we can learn to navigate them. So thank you for being here. Bye, everybody. Bye.